you haven't stopped caring. You've just found quieter ways to prove that you still do. You think not replying means you're over it. It doesn't. You think staying silent means you've found peace. It doesn't. You think walking away means you're finally free. It doesn't. Because none of those answer the only question that matters. If they walked back into your life today, what would happen inside your mind? Don't answer too quickly, because this is where almost everyone lies to themselves. They think caring is something you do. It isn't. It's something that still controls you, even after you've stopped reacting. So here's the real question. What still has the power to move you? An apology? Their approval? The chance to explain yourself? The chance to prove they were wrong? If any part of you still needs one of those, you haven't left. You've only changed your position. That's why people disappear, but still check who noticed. Stay silent, but hope someone asks why. Walk away, but secretly wait to be followed. It looks like freedom, but it still revolves around someone else. And that's the trap. Most people don't stop caring. They simply become more sophisticated at hiding the evidence. The day you actually stop caring is so subtle that most people miss it completely. And before this video ends, you'll know the one sign that proves you've finally reached it. Once you see it, you'll never mistake silence for freedom again. Before we talk about what it means to stop caring, we have to destroy the biggest lie about it. Because most people never experience real freedom. They experience a convincing imitation. And the dangerous thing about an imitation is that it feels real enough to stop looking for the truth. So, let's expose the counterfeits. Counterfeit number 1. Silence. People think silence means they've stopped caring. Sometimes, it's just caring that has changed its strategy. You stop explaining, not because you've accepted being misunderstood, because you're waiting for your silence to say what your words never could. That's not detachment. That's expectation. With the volume turned down, here's how you know. If they finally called tonight, would your silence survive? Counterfeit number 2. Distance. People disappear all the time. They delete numbers, block accounts, leave jobs, move cities, and everyone assumes they've moved on. Maybe. Or maybe they've just moved the performance somewhere nobody else can see. Because distance doesn't end an attachment. It only hides the evidence. If your mind still checks for signs, if part of you still hopes they notice you're gone, you didn't leave the game. You just changed where you're standing. Counterfeit number 3. Looking unbothered. This one fools almost everyone, because looking calm and being free are not the same thing. Some people look completely unshaken, while every decision they make is still trying to send a message. Look how well I'm doing. Look how happy I am. Look what you lost. Read those messages carefully. Every one of them has the same audience, the person they're pretending not to care about. So let me ask you something. If your peace still needs to be witnessed, is it really peace? Or is it another performance? Because that's the dark truth almost nobody wants to face. You can stop speaking without stopping the conversation. You can walk away without leaving. You can look free while still living inside someone else's opinion. And that's why this is so difficult. The hardest performance to recognize is the one you're giving to yourself. So here's the question that changes everything. If your silence is still trying to make someone regret losing you, have you stopped caring? Or have you simply become better at hiding it? Because if that's not freedom, then what is? Let's test what you've been calling moving on, because I think you've been diagnosing yourself with the wrong condition. You say, I don't care about them anymore. Maybe. But let's see if that's actually true. Here's the first diagnosis. I miss them. Do you? Then answer this. If they came back tomorrow, but treated you exactly the same, would that satisfy you? No. Of course not. Because it was never just about having them. It was about finally being chosen. The person wasn't the answer you were looking for. They were the place you expected to find it. Let's try another diagnosis. I'm still upset because of what they did. Are you? Then why does it still bother you? When someone else believes their version of the story, the person is gone. The argument is over. Yet something inside you still wants to correct the record. Why? Because you weren't only fighting to keep the relationship, you were fighting to be understood. Those are not the same battle. One more. I just wish I had closure. Really. Imagine they gave you everything people say they want. An apology, an explanation, a final conversation. Now imagine they end it with one sentence. I'm still glad I left. Would you feel free? Or would something inside you collapse? If it's the second, then closure was never the thing you were waiting for. You were waiting to be right. Now here's the one almost nobody admits. You don't always care because someone left. Sometimes, you care because they stopped carrying your story. Think about that. Being forgotten hurts differently than being rejected. Rejection says, I don't choose you. Being forgotten says, you no longer exist in my world. And for many people, that's the wound they never recognized. Not losing the person, losing the place they occupied in that person's mind. Carl Jung saw something profound about human nature. He wrote, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. That's why this is so difficult to see. We keep saying, I still care about them, because it's easier than saying, part of me still needs to be chosen, or understood, or remembered, or proven right. Those truths are much harder to face. And this changes everything. Because the moment you separate the person from what you were asking them to give you, the illusion begins to break. Remove the person, and often the attachment stays, which means you weren't holding on to them. You were holding on to what you believed only they could give you. And until you see that, you'll keep thinking you've stopped caring, when all you've really done is change the face you're asking those same questions to. Here's the mistake. People think they decide whether they've stopped caring. They don't. Life decides for them. Not with speeches, not with big moments, with interruptions, tiny ones, the kind you never see coming. You're having a good day. Then someone mentions their name. Nothing changes around you. Something changes inside you. Your attention leaves the present and goes looking for a past that no longer exists. Life just gave you an answer. You're scrolling. You see, they've moved on. They're smiling. They're succeeding. Maybe they're happier than they ever looked with you. Forget what you say out loud. What arrived first? Peace or comparison? Because your first reaction doesn't care about your pride. It only tells the truth. Then it happens. The apology you've waited months or years to hear never comes. No message, no regret, no admission. Life quietly asks one question. Can you keep walking without collecting what you're owed? Most people can't. Not because they miss the person, because they still need the payment. Now here's the one that catches almost everyone. You discover they've completely forgotten you. No anger, no resentment, no revenge, just absence. Nothing inside their world still points back to you. Does something in you immediately want to matter again? Don't answer that. Just notice how quickly your mind tried to negotiate with reality. This is why freedom is so difficult to fake. Because life keeps setting traps for the part of you that still wants to be chosen, understood, remembered, or proven right. You don't fail those moments because you're weak. You fail them because something inside you still believes your peace can be completed by another person's response. So don't ask yourself whether you've stopped caring. That's the wrong question. Ask yourself this instead. What keeps interrupting my peace? Without my permission? Because whatever still has the power to interrupt your inner world hasn't left your life. It has simply changed its address. I want to ask you for one honest word. Not a story, not an explanation, just one word. What interrupted you the most? Being misunderstood, being replaced, being forgotten, or never getting the apology? Write only that one word in the comments. You'll realize something almost nobody expects. The struggle you thought belonged only to you has been quietly carried by thousands of people watching this with you. By now, you've probably realized something uncomfortable. Not caring is much harder than anyone tells you, which is exactly why so many people settle for something that only looks like it. And this is the most dangerous counterfeit of them all. People wake up one day and say, "I don't care anymore." Be careful. That sentence has two completely different meanings. One leads to freedom. The other becomes another prison. Some people stop caring because they've made peace. Others stop caring because they got tired of getting hurt. Those are not the same person. From the outside, they look identical. Neither one calls. Neither one chases. Neither one explains. Neither one reacts. Watch closely, because this is where almost everyone gets fooled. One has put the past down. The other has simply stopped picking anything up. One says, "Nothing controls me anymore." The other says, "Nothing gets close enough to control me." Those sound similar. They're worlds apart. Here's the paradox. The person who's finally free can still love, can still trust, can still care. They've just stopped needing those things to be at peace. The wounded person makes a different decision. If caring once hurt this much, I'll never care like that again. That isn't freedom. That's a ceasefire. The war never ended. You just abandoned the battlefield. Listen carefully, because this is where people mislabel their healing. When you stop feeling joy, along with disappointment, that's not detachment. When you stop letting people matter, because you're afraid they might, that's not strength. When you convince yourself, "I don't need anyone," ask yourself one question. Is that peace speaking? Or is that pain making promises on your behalf? Centuries ago, Proverbs captured the difference in a single sentence. Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city. Proverbs 16:32. Notice what it praises. Not emotional shutdown, not isolation, not becoming impossible to reach. Self-control. There's a reason for that. Self-control doesn't erase your emotions. It removes their authority. And that's the final deception. The world tells you the opposite of caring is feeling nothing. It isn't. The opposite of unhealthy caring is no longer being ruled by what you feel. Those are completely different lives, which means the day you truly stop caring won't be the day your heart goes silent. It will be the day your peace no longer asks permission from anyone else to exist. So, when does it happen? When do you actually stop caring? Not pretending, not performing. Actually, most people think it'll feel dramatic, like waking up one morning and realizing the pain is gone. It almost never happens that way. Instead, life asks one last question, a quiet one, the kind that almost slips past unnoticed. One day, their name comes up. You weren't expecting it. Someone mentions them. Then the conversation moves on. So do you. No speech, no performance, no victory. Your mind doesn't chase the moment, because it no longer needs anything from it. Another day, you see them succeeding. The old version of you would have started comparing, wondering, explaining, keeping score. This time, nothing inside you asks, "What does this say about me?" That question is gone. Weeks later, someone completely misunderstands your side of the story. You notice the impulse. For a second, you want to correct them. Then something strange happens. You let the misunderstanding exist, without letting it become your identity. Not because you gave up, because your peace no longer depends on winning that argument. Then comes the moment almost nobody expects. You realize you haven't thought about proving anything for a very long time. Not proving they were wrong, not proving your worth, not proving what they lost, not even proving that you've moved on. And that's when it finally hits you. You didn't stop caring because they changed. You stopped caring because your life stopped asking them questions. Do I matter? Was I enough? Did they regret it? Will they ever understand? Those questions used to follow you everywhere. Now, they have nowhere left to live. That's the day. Not the day you stop remembering. Not the day you stop feeling. The day their answers stop being necessary. Epictetus spent his life returning to one idea. The things outside your control cannot determine the quality of your inner life unless you allow them to. That's not emotional distance. That's freedom. Because the day you stop caring isn't the day another person disappears from your memory. It's the day they disappear from the job of deciding your peace. So, if you've been waiting for the memories to disappear, you've been waiting for the wrong miracle. The real miracle is much quieter. It's waking up one ordinary day and realizing your life has finally stopped asking someone else's life for permission to move forward. If this is the first time someone's put into words what you've been feeling, don't let this idea end here. Leave a like so more people who need this message have a chance of finding it. And if one person came to your mind while you were watching, don't ignore that. Send it to them, because someone else may still be waiting for a freedom that was never going to come from another person's response.